A dimly lit briefing room aboard a corporate vessel. The air is heavy with tension. A holographic map of an unknown planet flickers in the center of the room. Cade stands before a large, sleek table, his hands clasped behind his back. He stares at the floating map of a world with no name, a barren, unexplored planet promising untold riches. The Tyros Corporation's logo glows ominously in the corner of the projection. The briefing officer, a sharp-eyed woman in a uniform that screams corporate power, taps her terminal. She pauses, letting the silence settle in. Cade's eyes narrow, instinctively questioning the motives behind the mission. His gut tells him there's more to this than a simple corporate reconnaissance. Officer Illyra, flatly. This planet, unclaimed, undisturbed, holds resources that could change everything. It's dangerous, yes, but it's worth it, for those of us willing to risk it all. Illyra turns to Cade, locking eyes with him. Her tone softens for a brief moment. Illyra, we trust you, Cade. Don't make us regret it. Cade nods, his thoughts racing, wondering if anyone truly trusts anyone in this line of work. A plan for fortune, or for something darker? The descent craft, a sleek metallic shuttle vibrating with the anticipation of atmospheric entry. Crew members sit in tense silence, some staring ahead, others fidgeting with gear. Scene description. Cade settles into his seat in the descent craft. He's surrounded by unfamiliar faces. Velkai, the calculating alien officer with a cold gaze that seems to see right through him. Suri, the brilliant but cautious engineer whose mind is constantly at work behind her tired eyes. And the rest of the crew, each one wrapped in their own mysteries, their personal motives hidden beneath layers of professionalism. Velkai, with a calculated voice. You think you can handle this planet, human? Cade's reply is a sharp, guarded chuckle as he adjusts his seatbelt. Cade, grinning. I've survived worse than a hostile planet. The question is, can you? Suri interrupts, her voice calm yet uneasy. Let's just hope we don't have to find out. The ship rumbles as they break through the atmosphere, and the tension escalates. Cade glances out the window, catching his first sight of the planet below, a rocky, scarred landscape that seems to pulse with an eerie glow. Something feels off, and he can't shake the feeling of being watched. Inside the descent craft, alarms blare as flashing red lights fill the cabin. The crew is thrown into a state of controlled chaos as the craft spirals uncontrollably towards the planet's surface. The descent begins smoothly, but suddenly, the ship lurches violently, sending everyone scrambling for control. A loud explosion rattles the hull, sparks fly from the panel, and alarms scream in unison. Cade grabs onto his seat, his heart pounding as the ship tilts sideways. Suri, frantic.
We've lost control! The thrusters are down! The lights flicker. Cade looks at Velkai. The alien officer's calm expression cracks slightly, revealing a flicker of concern. Or is it something else? Cade's gut tightens as he catches Velkai's subtle, knowing glance at the crew's commander, who remains eerily silent. Cade, thinking to himself, someone wanted this to happen. Someone set this in motion. The ship spins wildly, alarms deafening in his ears. Everything goes black as the impact knocks him unconscious. The wreckage of the descent craft, smoke rising from broken panels and scattered debris. The crew is surveying the crash site, moving cautiously in the aftermath. Cade lies buried under a heap of twisted metal and shattered glass. His breath comes in shallow gasps. The world around him is spinning, but something in his instincts tells him to stay still. He's alive, but it's unclear for how long. The crew stands around, looking at the wreckage. Suri's face is grim as she scans the area with the medical scanner. Suri, softly. He's gone. We can't waste time. We need to move. Velkai nods currently, his eyes scanning the horizon, sensing something ominous lurking in the shadows. They leave without another word. Kate's eyes flutter open as their footsteps fade into the distance. Alone. Abandoned. The silence is deafening. The wreckage of the ship's hull, smoke swirling in the air. The jungle beyond looms in shadows, ominous and unfamiliar. Kate groans as he pushes himself up, pain shooting through his ribs. His body protests, but survival instincts kick in. His comm link is busted, and there's no signal. He's alone, stranded on an alien planet. The ship's wreckage a cruel reminder of how quickly things can go wrong. Great. Betrayed and stuck in a hellhole. This isn't how I planned it. Kate stumbles to his feet, feeling the weight of the mission. What was meant to be a corporate gold mine now feels like a death sentence. He's alone, and there's no rescue coming. Only the jungle ahead. The alien jungle, thick with towering trees, dense undergrowth, and strange glowing plants. The air is thick with the sounds of distant creatures and unknown threats. Cade stops, his breath quickening. A low growl rumbles from the distance. Something is out there, stalking him. Not today, you damn thing. Cade grips a broken branch and fashions it into a crude weapon, his survival instinct surging. He's no longer just surviving, he's fighting back. A small clearing in the jungle. Cade has set up a makeshift camp, a small fire crackling in front of him. His face is streaked with dirt, his body battered, but still moving.
Scene description. Cade crouches near the fire, his eyes scanning the dark jungle. The crackle of the flames is the only sound that keeps him grounded in this nightmare. He's made his first trap, a crude snare that could catch something dangerous. Suddenly, a rustling noise breaks the silence. A creature, towering and menacing, steps into the clearing. Its eyes gleam in the firelight, its jaws glistening with hunger. Cade's grip tightens around his weapon as the creature lunges. The fight is brutal, but Cade's rage and instinct overpower the beast. Blood is spilled, but he survives. Cade, breathless to himself, first blood, and it's mine. He watches the creature's body slump to the ground, then turns back to the fire. This isn't the end, it's just a beginning. Cade awoke with a jolt, his body aching from the brutal impact. The world around him was shrouded in smoke and debris, smoldering wreckage of the ship he had once hoped would take him to an unknown world full of riches. But now there was only silence. He staggered to his feet, gripping his fractured ribs, and surveyed the wreckage. His breath came in short gasps as he scanned the horizon. No signs of life, no distress signals, no help on the way. The wreckage was abandoned, but more telling, the silence. Not even the comforting hum of a comm signal, nothing. His crew was gone, and he was still alive. His mind raced, Cade's gut twisted with the cold, undeniable truth. He had been left behind, a casualty of corporate greed. This wasn't an accident. They had meant for him to die, abandoned in the wreckage with no hope of survival. The jungle was eerily still, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Cade clenched his fists, pushing away the overwhelming sense of defeat. He wasn't done. Not yet. The wreckage was a labyrinth of burning metal and twisted wires, but Cade didn't stop. With each step, his pulse quickened. He knew what he was searching for, a backup log, something to explain why they had left him to die. It took hours, but his determination drove him. Finally, he found what he was looking for, a charred data chip, nearly destroyed but just functional enough to give up its secrets. He inserted it into the damaged reader, sweat trickling down his face. The first few moments were garbled noise, then the playback cleared, revealing the cold, emotionless voices of his crew. He's compromised. Velkai's voice cut through the static. Expendable. He knows too much. We move without him. Cade's stomach twisted as the truth hit him like a punch to the gut. They hadn't just left him behind. They had decided his fate long before the crash.
He had been a liability, a mistake they couldn't afford to keep alive. But it wasn't over yet. He was still breathing, still fighting. Cade's body screamed in pain as he dragged himself through the wreckage, but he couldn't afford to stop. Bleeding from deep cuts, his vision blurry from exhaustion, he scavenged for anything that could help him survive. The jungle, with its hostile trees and thick, suffocating air, felt like an enemy all on its own. After hours of searching, Cade found a thick alien bark. Sharp and durable, it would serve as the foundation for a shelter. He scavenged the wreckage for thermal mesh and other materials, using every bit of his knowledge to build something, anything to protect himself from this hostile world. The shelter was crude, barely a structure, but it was enough to keep the night at bay. He worked through the pain, every movement a reminder of the betrayal that had left him here. But he was still alive, and as long as he was breathing, there was a chance. The jungle was alive in ways Cade hadn't anticipated. The air was thick with a strange heavy humidity, the ground damp and shifting beneath his boots. But it wasn't the environment that made his instincts flare. It was the feeling of being watched. Cade's heart raced as the shadows between the trees seemed to shift. He heard the soft padding of massive paws, but each time he turned, there was nothing there. The world was playing tricks on him, or so he thought. Then, in the distance, a massive form emerged from the shadows. Its massive armored body glinted faintly in the dying light, its eyes locked onto Cade's with a hunger that could only be described as predatory. He froze for a moment, then snapped into action. The predator, a massive jungle stalker, was already moving toward him. Cade's instincts kicked in. He quickly set up a decoy and camouflaged himself in the dense undergrowth, heart pounding. The predator circled the decoy, confused but patient. Cade's pulse thundered in his ears as he held his breath, waiting for the right moment. The planet wasn't just wild, it was a hunter, and he was its prey. Cade stumbled into the shelter, clutching his side where the beast had struck. Blood poured from a gaping wound in his thigh. The pain was blinding, but he had no choice. He fumbled through the wreckage for the old combat med patch, grimacing as he applied the treatment. The patch burned, sealing the wound, but it did nothing to numb the pain. With his ribs cracked and his thigh oozing blood, Cade fought to keep his focus. He was alone, betrayed, but he would survive. The pain kept him awake, kept him alert. He knew he couldn't stop. He had to keep moving. As Cade lay in the shelter, his body a mass of pain and exhaustion, memories began to flood his mind. The arguments on the ship, Velkai's cold, calculating stare, Suri's silent fear. It all came crashing back in fragments, each piece confirming what Cade had already realized. He had been marked for death from the start. Leave one behind, send the message. The cold words from the Tyros directive echoed in his mind. He had been a pawn in their game, disposable, nothing more than a test subject for whatever their true mission was. The mission wasn't exploration, it was theft, and Cade was the liability, the witness who had to be silenced.
Cade's fingers trembled as he tore through the wreckage, searching for anything that could aid him. His hands brushed against something hard, hidden beneath the remains of an engine casing. He pulled it free. Another data chip, this one smaller, more secure. He inserted it into the reader, praying for answers. The encrypted logs revealed a chilling truth. The mission was never meant to explore the planet. Tyros had sent them here to steal something ancient, something valuable. And Cade had been the only one who had seen too much. He wasn't just expendable, he was a loose end they needed to erase. Cade's resolve solidified as he carved his purpose into the bark of his shelter. He wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. This was no longer about escape. It was about justice, about exposing the truth. He would find them. He would track down every one of them, and he would make them answer for what they had done. The jungle had tried to kill him, but now it was his ally. With each passing day, Cade's resolve grew stronger, his hatred for those who had betrayed him fueling his every step. Survival wasn't enough. This was about revenge, and nothing, not this alien jungle, not the corporations that had left him to die, nothing would stop him now. The jungle hums with the buzz of alien insects, and the thick canopy overhead blocks out the sun, casting the ground into shadow. Cade's breathing is labored,
his ribs still aching, his wounds searing with each movement. His body is weak, but his mind is sharp. He's no longer hiding from the predators of this planet. He's becoming one of them. Using wreckage from the crash, Cade begins his work. Sharp shards of metal form the base of crude traps, while sections of the ship's thermal mesh are rewired to function as jammers. He's not a soldier anymore. He's a hunter. Every piece of technology he salvages, every scrap of knowledge he pulls from the wreck becomes a weapon in his war. He feels a shift within himself. Once prey, now predator. The jungle is no longer a place of danger. It's his battleground, and it will bend to his will. He sets the traps and waits, the tension thick in the air. The sounds of the jungle around him grow more distant, as if even the beasts are aware that something has changed. With the scarred map of the jungle in hand, Cade surveys his surroundings. The predator trails are obvious now, the twisted marks left in the underbrush as clear as a roadmap. He studies them, marking the flow of water, the electromagnetic fields that pulse through the dense air. Everything is connected, every tree, every creature, every predator. The jungle isn't just a place of death anymore, it's a battleground, and Cade, with his human ingenuity, is learning to use it. He blends into the shadows, a ghost among the trees. His pulse quickens, but his movements are calm, controlled. He no longer fears the unknown, he understands it. The creatures that once hunted him will now be the hunted. He adjusts the traps, reroutes the signals from his makeshift jammers, and sets his sights on the next stage of his plan. His mind races with calculations, each step more deliberate than the last. The jungle is his weapon, and he's learning to wield it like an extension of his own body. The jungle shifts again. Cade stands at the edge of the clearing where the crash site once lay, now a twisted mess of metal and burning wreckage. He surveys the ground, looking for something, anything that can tell him where they've gone. There. Footprints in the mud, faint but undeniable. The crew. They hadn't died on impact. They were moving, running, trying to escape. Cade follows their path, staying out of sight. He doesn't know whether he wants to kill them or simply understand. His fingers flex around the hilt of a weapon he forged from the wreckage. He's close, closer than he's ever been. The thick jungle, once an oppressive barrier, now feels like a cover, a perfect place to strike. He shadows them for hours, using his knowledge of the terrain to stay hidden. They don't know he's there, but he's always near, always watching. Cade's hand trembles as he intercepts the encrypted transmission. His mind races as the cold, emotionless voice of Tyros fills the comms. Terminate all evidence. Orbital strike authorized. Total destruction of crash site. Target, eliminate. The command is clear. Cade's breath catches in his chest. They plan to burn everything. Him, the wreckage, the jungle, everything. No witnesses, no survivors. The voice on the other end doesn't care. They've marked him for death, erased him from the mission the moment the ship crashed. The fire in his gut flares brighter now, his hatred for Tyros simmering into a sharp-edged rage. He's been betrayed, but he won't die here. Not like this, not forgotten. The night is quiet, but Cade is far from still. He moves like a shadow through the jungle, dodging Tyros' automated drones and harvesters. Each one is a reminder of the betrayal. Their cold, efficient machinery designed to erase his existence, to wipe away his name. But Cade has other plans. With a hacked comm unit, he reroutes drones to malfunction, crashes supply harvesters into each other. The forest trembles with the sound of explosions as Tyros' machines falter. The company that left him to die is now losing its grip, its control slipping through its fingers with every malfunction. Cade grins. They thought they could erase him. They're wrong. The crackle of the comm suddenly cuts through the air, faints at first, then growing clearer. Suri, Cade whispers, his heart skipping a beat. It can't be. She was supposed to be part of the crew that left him behind. But then the voice comes through, weak, strained, but unmistakable. Cade, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I couldn't. Her voice falters, but the words are clear. She's alive and she's trapped. Her regrets hit him like a physical blow. There's so much Cade wants to say, but instead he listens, letting the truth unfold through the static. She's alive, but at what cost? Suri's voice trembles as she confesses what Cade already feared. Tyros had given Velkai an impossible choice: abandon Cade or lose the mission. Velkai had chosen the mission. Cade had been marked for death from the start. A cold, bitter rage fills Cade's chest. He had trusted them. They had all betrayed him, each of them with their own justifications. But none of that mattered now. Suri's voice cracks again. I tried to stop them, Cade. I tried, but I couldn't. He clenches his fist, the pain of betrayal searing him. But it's not a weakness. It's fuel. He's no longer just a man trying to survive. Now he's a man on a mission. Cade stands alone in the jungle, the weight of his choices pressing down on him. His mind flickers through images of the crew. Velkai's cold face, Suri's regretful eyes, Tyros' corporate greed. His chest tightens. There's no simple answer now. He could kill them all. No one would ever know the truth. But part of him hesitates, remembering the life he once had, the person he used to be. The jungle is quiet, but his thoughts roar. He has to decide, vengeance or justice. In the distance, he hears something. Movement. Footsteps. His war is just beginning. Cade looks down at the rough-hewn knife in his hand. He clenches it tighter. He's made his choice. This isn't just about survival anymore. It's about making them pay. The jungle hums with a deadly silence. Cade's breath is steady, his eyes scanning the tree line. His body, a map of scars, aches, but his mind is sharp, sharper than ever. The hunt begins now, not for food, but for vengeance. The once captive man is now the predator. The alien world, hostile and indifferent, has become his battlefield. Through the twisted trees and dense undergrowth, he moves like a shadow, using the environment to his advantage. The jungle itself feels like it's holding its breath, waiting for what's about to come. His traps, rigged from wreckage scrap and primitive tools, lie in wait. Hidden under the earth, camouflaged by the alien flora, they are ready to spring. Every step is deliberate. The face of the men who left them behind flashes in his mind. Betrayal. It sharpens the edge of his fury. As Cade moves closer to the enemy stronghold, the weight of his solitude, his survival, pushes him further. There's no turning back now. This is his final assault. The world may have forgotten him, but Cade is here, and he will make sure they remember. The enemy's drones hum in the distance. They once hunted him, but now they are prey. Cade's fingers move deftly, hacking into their systems with the tools he scavenged. The machines were built to track and eliminate, but Cade has learned to speak their language. He taps into the control systems, twisting their purpose. A group of drones, initially scouting for survivors, now turn on their creators. Cade watches, a ghost in their system. The machines, meant to destroy him, are now his weapons. He smiles darkly as he reroutes their paths, making them turn on their masters. The hum of the drones becomes louder, but this time, it's not the sound of an impending death. It's the sound of victory. Cade has turned the tide. No longer is he the hunted. He is the one hunting them. Amidst the smoke and wreckage of the battlefield, Cade finds him, Velkai. The alien once fought beside him, but now stands as an obstacle. His presence sends a surge of anger through Cade's veins. "You don't understand," Velkai says, his voice tinged with regret. "We were ordered. We had no choice." Cade's grip tightens on his weapon. Those words, once a comfort, now burn with betrayal. Velkai was one of the few who knew Cade before this madness.
But those days are gone. The trust is gone. Ordered! Cade sneers, stepping closer, his voice low and filled with venom. You sacrificed me for your orders, your so-called duty, and now you'll face the consequences. Velkai's posture falters, guilt flashing across his alien features. But Cade can see it. He's no longer the comrade he once knew. He's an enemy, and Cade has no time for sentimentality. Cade stands over Velkai, weapon raised, ready to strike. The jungle around them seems to hold its breath. The weight of the decision presses down on Cade's shoulders. His heart beats louder than his thoughts. His pulse races, but it's not fear. It's anger, betrayal, and pain. For a moment, everything freezes. The face of Velkai, the one he trusted, flashes before him. The past, the good times, the bond they once shared. Then, Cade's grip falters. He sees it, the same torn look in Velkai's eyes. Guilt, regret. This wasn't his choice. He was just a pawn in a much larger game. Cade's weapon trembles in his hand, but his resolve hardens. You live, he says, voice colder than the deepest space. But not without facing what you've done. You'll have to answer for this, Velkai. The jungle's tension lingers as Cade turns away, leaving his former comrade alive, but broken. Cade stands before the wreckage of the crashed ship, his fingers working furiously at the communication panel. The truth, the whole truth, must be known. He taps into the system, overriding Tyros' tight security. The logs flood the screen. Tyros' plan, hidden for so long, the betrayal, the greed. Tyros' true mission wasn't to save the crew. It was to destroy everything and steal the resources. Cade's hand hovers over the broadcast button. One press and the galaxy will know. His breath catches in his throat. He could kill Tyros now, end it all. But no, this is the truth they must face. He hits the button. The transmission goes live. The galaxy will know what really happened. And Tyros can't hide from it anymore.
Tyros' voice crackles through the comm. You think this is over? He spits, fury lacing his words. You'll die for this, Cade, all of you. Cade's heart skips a beat. Above, the ship's engines flare, charging up for a final orbital strike. Tyros is desperate. The countdown begins. Cade glances at the skies. The bright flash is coming. There's no time to escape. The ship, the weapon above, grows brighter with every passing second. A beacon of death. Cade knows he has to act fast. Cade's fingers fly over the console. He can't outrun the strike, but he can fight back. The system is in his hands now, and Tyros has made the mistake of leaving it open to him. He reconfigures the weapon, flipping its purpose. The beam, once aimed at the planet, now targets the ship itself. The hum of the energy weapon charges again, but this time, it's not going where Tyros wanted. Cade steps back, watching the ship above him begin to break apart, piece by piece. It's a slow, painful destruction, but it's sweet. His enemies are falling, and Cade is the one pulling the strings. The jungle is quiet again, save for the distant rumble of Tyros' ship breaking apart. Cade watches as Suri and the remaining crew make their way through the underbrush, heading toward the evac point. They're not out of danger yet, but they have a chance now. Suri glances back at Cade, a silent understanding passing between them. He nods, watching them disappear into the jungle. This is their moment to escape. He's done what he needed to do. The past is behind them, but it will always haunt him. Velkai stares out over the wreckage. His hands are bloodied, his face torn with guilt. The mission is over, and the consequences are clear. Cade has shown mercy, but it has come at a cost. In the distance, the jungle seems to close in on him, like it's waiting for his next move. He's left alone, with nothing but the weight of his choices to carry. The jungle swallows him whole. Cade moves silently, just another shadow in the thick mist. The mission is over, the revenge complete. No one will find him. No one will know where he goes from here. The legend of Cade, the lone warrior who took down a corrupt system will fade into myth. The smoke rises and Cade vanishes, leaving only the echoes of his actions behind.
The galaxy was still reeling from the aftermath of the Tyros Corporean's exposure. Its shadowy dealings were revealed to all, and the truth spread like wildfire across the stars. Yet, in the void, another legend began to take shape. A whisper that echoed in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The name was passed in hushed tones. The Ghost Operative. Cade, once just a man, was now a symbol. A lone human who had taken down one of the galaxy's most powerful corporations. A force feared by everyone, even the most formidable of alien races. His story transcended borders. His name was becoming synonymous with vengeance, with a spark of human defiance in a universe that seemed bent on crushing it. In spaceports, barroom whispers floated about how Cade had managed to infiltrate the high-security chambers of Tyros, surviving against insurmountable odds. How he single-handedly exposed the darkest secrets of the corporation. And then, just as mysteriously as he appeared, he vanished into the unknown, leaving only a trail of destruction in his wake. Some called him a myth, others believed he was a ghost. But those who knew better, who'd seen the remnants of Tyros' downfall, knew that Cade was real. The legend was born. The galaxy had never been the same since Cade's exposure of Tyros. The ripple effect was felt throughout the interconnected worlds. Investigations were launched by various galactic agencies. The veil had been lifted, and now there was no going back. Former allies of Tyros, shocked by the revelations, found themselves on the receiving end of an unprecedented witch hunt. Entire sectors of the galaxy, once under the tight grip of the corporation, scrambled to hide their involvement in its illicit dealings. Secret funds, covert missions, and advanced weaponry were unearthed, causing diplomatic tremors that reverberated across planets. But the exposure was just a beginning. In its wake, agents from all across the galaxy moved in, tracking down remnants of Tyros' shadow operations. Despite their best efforts, the web Tyros had spun seemed endless. A network of lies and manipulations had rooted itself into galactic politics, corporate dealings, and military endeavors. As Cade's name became legend, the search for the people behind Tyros' corruption grew more desperate. But Tyros, like any wounded beast, was dangerous. Its claws were still sharp. Weeks passed. Cade's name faded from the headlines, replaced by new scandals and conflicts. But rumors, always rumors, persisted. In a remote sector, far from prying eyes, a humanitarian team combed the wreckage of a battle-scarred planet. They found them there. Cade was barely alive, his body emaciated, his skin pale and drawn from the harsh conditions. His wounds were deep, but it wasn't the physical pain that had broken him. It was the isolation, the cold weight of survival. The years of fighting, of being pushed to the edge had taken their toll. His chest rolled shallowly with each breath as he lay in the medbay of their ship. They treated his wounds, offered food, water, care, but Cade was unmoved. His eyes, though dim, held the sharp, defiant glint of a man who wasn't finished. "I'm not your patient," he rasped, his voice rough with the remnants of 1,000 battles. "I didn't survive just to sit idle." His hands, trembling but determined, gripped a small data crystal he'd kept hidden away. It was the only thing he cared about now. The team urged him to rest, but Cade refused, his thoughts consumed by the mission still unfinished. Cade looked up at the humanitarian team. His resolve was like iron, tempered by the harsh realities of his journey. He reached for the crystal, his fingers almost reluctant to let it go. The truth was inside it, the key to exposing even more of Tyros' dark schemes. "I don't need your help," Cade muttered again, a cold edge to his tone. "But this is what matters now." He passed the data crystal into their hands, his grip firm, unyielding. His legacy, the legacy of countless lives lost, rested on this small device. 12 more hidden operations, 11 planets ravaged for resources. The suffering was unimaginable. "I want it all out," Cade said, voice hoarse but determined. "The galaxy needs to see what Tyros did." The humanitarian team understood the weight of the moment. They knew that this wasn't just a victory for Cade, it was a fight for the future of countless worlds. And for Cade, it was his final gift, his final stand. Cade's hands fell away, leaving only silence between them. The team had no words to offer. But Cade, the man who had defied impossible odds, broke that silence with his final declaration. "I'm not done yet." The simplicity of it, the weight of it, hung heavy in the room. Those few words sealed his fate, his path, and the galaxy's future. His spirit was as unyielding as ever. Despite his broken body, despite everything he had endured, Cade's fire was still burning. The truth had been exposed. Now there was no stopping it. Before the team could react, before they could even fully comprehend the gravity of Cade's message, he vanished once again. He was no longer in the medbay. No warning, no trace, just the whisper of the door opening and closing. In the days that followed, stories began to emerge from the darkest corners of the galaxy. Rebels spoke of a lone human who had fought against insurmountable odds. Mercenaries swore they'd seen a shadow in the night, someone who disappeared as quickly as he had arrived. Cade was no longer just a man. He had become a ghost, a myth, a symbol. Cade's actions didn't just echo across the galaxy. They transformed it. A new order was born from the ashes of his struggle. Laws were passed in the wake of his disappearance, making it illegal to abandon individuals on hostile planets. The survivors, the ones Cade had fought to protect, rallied behind his cause. The galaxy had witnessed the strength of humanity, and it had no choice but to respond. New policies were written into galactic law, ensuring that no one would ever again face the same fates Cade had suffered. His courage had changed the future forever. The final whispers of the ghost operative lingered in the hearts of those who knew his name, and the galaxy, though scarred, had a chance to heal, because of one man who refused to be forgotten. The rumbling of the transport vessel slowly fades as it touches down on the unfamiliar terrain of an unknown world. The planet's vast jungle stretches endlessly before the crew, an untamed green sea of towering trees and thick, impenetrable undergrowth. The air is thick with the scent of damp earth and alien flora, heavy with the weight of unspoken possibilities.
The explorers are young, eager, fresh from their training, and are ready to conquer the unknown. They step out of the ship, breathing in the strange air, their boots sinking slightly into the soft, moss-covered ground. Their mission is simple, yet fraught with danger. Explore, map, and investigate. No one told them how perilous it could be. The dense canopy above blocks out much of the sunlight, casting long shadows that seem to move of their own accord. A sense of foreboding settles over the crew as they make their first cautious steps into the jungle. The unknown world, now their responsibility. With their tools and equipment in hand, they venture deeper into the wilds. One crew member, Aiden, the youngest of them all, hesitates at the edge of the jungle. His eyes dart between the endless expanse of trees and the rest of his team, his gut twisting in an unfamiliar way. Something is wrong. The others don't seem to notice, busy scanning their surroundings or taking measurements, but Aiden can feel it. The sensation of being watched, of unseen eyes tracking his every movement. He steps forward, but the unsettling feeling grows stronger. Every rustle in the leaves, every shifting shadow seems deliberate, calculated. He swallows, trying to shake the fear, but it clings to him. He's sure there's something in the jungle, something watching them. He tells himself it's nothing, a trick of the mind. But the hairs on the back of his neck stand up, and he can't shake the feeling that they've made a terrible mistake. As they push further into the jungle, Aiden's unease only grows. He finds himself walking alone, having separated from the main group, drawn by something he can't explain. It's then that he stumbles upon it, a crude sign half buried under thick vines. At first it looks like just another artifact of this strange world, but as he clears away the vegetation, his blood runs cold. The sign is made of bone, ancient, weathered bone and metal, a disturbing fusion of the organic and the technological. It's a warning, one that can't be ignored. Etched into the bone is a message, jagged and rough as though carved with desperation. Leave no one behind, or someone will come back. Aiden's breath catches in his throat. His mind races, trying to make sense of the words. Who left this? Why? And what does it mean, someone will come back? He glances over his shoulder, a cold sweat breaking out on his skin. Something about this planet is wrong, and whatever it is, it's tied to the past, a path that might not be as far gone as they think. High above, perched along the towering trees, Caden watches, his eyes gleaming with a hardened intensity. His form is a shadow in the darkness of the jungle, hidden among the branches like a ghost. Time has ravaged him, his body scarred and broken, but his spirit remains unyielding, driven by a relentless need to keep watch over this world, over these new intruders. Cade had never truly left this planet, not in spirit, not in heart. His mission, his fight, had never ended. The warning had been left behind for a reason, a reminder of the price of survival, of betrayal. He knew the crew would find it. They always did. The jungle shifts around him as though it too is aware of the new arrivals. Cade's eyes flicker towards the crew below, a cold calculation in his gaze. He watches them with the patience of someone who has seen too much, who knows that their journey into this jungle will test them in ways they can't yet understand. Cade's hand tightens around the worn hilt of his weapon, a silent vow to ensure that the past lessons are learned, even if it costs him his humanity. He won't let them make the same mistakes. He can't. As the crew moves deeper into the jungle, unaware of the silent sentinel above them, the echoes of Cade's legacy continue to haunt the land. The jungle's secrets are far from buried, and Cade's silent vigil will remain until the final truth is revealed.